When we talked about this story for the first time, I guess it goes back a little over a week ago, the news that there would be staff cuts at the Montreal Gazette. And beyond that, not just one or two people, we're talking fairly significant, 25% of a 40-person staff. Still waiting for some of that to happen. I understand some of that actually will happen this week before possibly the end of tomorrow. And then the bigger question was, okay, here's yet another round of cuts. What does this mean for the future of the Montreal Gazette? Are we about to lose the only English language daily we have serving Montreal? A lot of people got together. I saw a variety of posts on Twitter, people saying, well, I'll do what I can. Well, one of those things is a petition that is now online. It's been launched by a group of people here from different walks of life, including Côte Saint-Luc Mayor Mitchell BROWNSTEIN, Eric MALDOFF, a lawyer who we've spoken to in the past, and many other people as well. It's so far garnered over 1,400 signatures online. I thought we'd get an update for you and find out exactly what is going on. We have both Mitchell BROWNSTEIN and Eric MALDOFF on the line. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. Eric, I'm going to start with you. We have spoken in the past about Bill 96 specifically, what it means as far as healthcare is concerned. How does this swing over to the Montreal Gazette? Why are you involved in this?
I think the Gazette plays a really crucial role not only in Montreal, but in Quebec and in Canada. It's a newspaper that can really address a broader community at a place in Canada where two languages and two cultures meet. And as most of the community knows, to use a vernacular phrase, it's really rock and roll these days in terms of the status of official language minority of Quebec. This paper has played a vital role, and tying it to health and social services. It's the Gazette that broke the story about the Heron long-term care facility, which became a national award-winning story. It plays a really key role. And editorial staff, everybody should understand, when they say they're cutting editorial staff, it's not 5 people who write editorials, it's the journalists who cover the stories, who get the information out, who enable people to have a discussion and hold governments accountable for what they're doing. So it's awfully important for the community, and we are taking a disproportionate hit. They announced an 11% cut, which would be huge in any event for us, but to knock it back by 25% is going to make the newspaper marginal. And the newspaper needs all the support it can get by people signing this petition and by people buying subscriptions and people advertising in the paper. We've got to keep it going. And we're going to have to deal with foreign owners who don't understand the importance of this institution.
Okay.
In this
That's really the issue, isn't it? And the disproportionate cuts being made here compared to other markets. Let's bring Mayor BROWNSTEIN in on this. I mean, ultimately, what are you hoping to achieve with this petition, that those cuts will be fewer?
Absolutely. Right now, if you're going to cut 10 out of 40 journalists, that means you're going to have 25% less people covering the news. And that translates in terms of news coverage in radio and television, because everybody shares their information. The story comes up in the Gazette, a journalist reads about it, reports. Right now we're on CJAD. That's how it all works. So if we're going to have 25% less of a voice in the written media, we're going to have a lot less power, because once it goes into the English media, then it goes to the French media. And that's the way we send our message about Bill 96, about so many issues that are important to us right now. A lot of people have signed this petition. I know that I've been speaking with Anthony Housefather, a member of Parliament. He has spoken with a couple of the CEOs. The goal is to make sure that they reduce the amount of individuals that are laid off in the Gazette, and finding ways that we can support the Gazette financially. And that's why the letter's going out to Trudeau, who supports, the federal government does support financially this institution. So we want, and also the resolution at the National Assembly.
So you're talking...
We need regular people,
okay.
like regular people supporting it too.
You're talking about saving jobs. The bigger issue here, of course, is about saving the newspaper altogether. And I wonder from that perspective, when we first started talking about this, it seems Post-Media doesn't really have much of an interest in talking to anybody. I remember speaking to Anthony Housefather only last week, who said he couldn't even get through to some of the executives with this company. They won't return his calls. Now, I don't know if that situation has changed, But what about local ownership, Mitchell? Perhaps you have a sort of some insight on that, or Eric, if you do. If nothing happens with these people who own this paper and don't seem to care about its future, does the possibility of local ownership even make sense?
Right. But I do want to just say that he did say, I spoke to Anthony yesterday, and he did speak to them. They had a long chat, and he got through to the CEOs, and they had a Zoom meeting, and they're open to discussing ways to reduce the cuts. I don't know exactly where we're going to go from here, and it's very important that the petition is signed and that we have a resolution in the National Assembly, but we have to look at all avenues. I think one of the most important ones is reaching the organization themselves and making sure they understand the impact to our community and how important it is to them.
Okay. Look, again, it's one thing to say we're going to save jobs, and everyone wants to save these jobs. It's another to save the future of this paper. Are you seeing, Eric, maybe you, just provincially, any interest at all? Does the provincial government, as far as you know or think, even care about the Montreal Gazette?
To be perfectly honest with you, I have not heard any. Well, there are some members of the National Assembly, particularly representing ridings where they're English-speaking people, who have come forward on this, and former members of the National Assembly. These things take a little bit of time to percolate. The fact that people are starting to get through to management of Post Media is in large measure the attention this issue is getting in the media, and it's not favorable press for Post Media. And it's the result of people signing this petition and signifying that this isn't a few people who are having a bad day. This is a lot of people who are increasing numbers of people who are becoming quite upset about finding themselves deprived of a daily newspaper, which is key.
I mean, I signed the petition already, but I will tell you that when we talked about this last time, about whether the Gazette should be saved and what kind of intervention there should potentially be, we got texts of people saying, it's simply not worth saving. And we're getting a couple to that with that same tone right now. So I would ask each of you, why is the Gazette worth saving? Why do we need this paper? Why is it so important?
Well, it's the voice of the English-speaking community. And without it, like I said prior, you're not going to be able to reach out to other mediums like radio and television. You all work together. All the journalists work together. We'll hear each other's stories. And if we don't have a voice in the English media, how are we going to have any impact on the French media? Things start for the English community often. I meet with the English media, and then they move forward in French press. The Gazette's our only newspaper. It's the only one left. So we certainly need to save it. We need to value it. In Côte Saint-Luc, we still have a lot of people reading the paper, the old style paper. 65, over 30% of the population's over the age of 65. Many have the hard copies. We'd like to have more subscriptions sold and more people advertising in the Gazette. Those are important things to keep it going.
I asked about a provincial government. I will ask about, you mentioned French media. Did this even generate a buzz on the French media side for either one of you when this was announced?
I didn't
much
hear
from what I can see. Not yet. But listen, we have to understand what's going on here. For those who read the French press, there's not a lot of diversity of opinion or information out there. The Gazette adds a lot of information into the mix. And yes, I've heard too, the Gazette, people saying it's not worth saving and all that. You never miss anything until it's gone. The fact of the matter is, it plays a vital role. It's a newspaper of record. It's a place where issues can be explored and examined and facts can be put on the table. And the 5-second clip that you get through the social media and all of that is no substitute for good journalism, good editorial comment, and a vehicle where the community can write thoughtful pieces and engage in really important discussions like our future in Quebec, which is not going to be resolved by screaming and yelling. It's going to be resolved by hard work, good journalism, good reporting, facts, and information on the record. And we will lose that. I think CJ Hughes has been doing a great job surfacing stories. But having journals of record is important.
Right. Eric raises a very important point. The internet right now, you get all false information on there. When you have journalists, they're required to give us the facts. They give the facts as they exist, not distorted facts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something we have to value and save. Otherwise, all this propaganda and discussion on the internet confusing people, you have nowhere to go to make sure that we know what's really happening.
Gentlemen, I have to wrap up. So for people hearing this who want to or didn't know perhaps this petition existed, how do they do it? Where do they go?
It's online. Let me see where it's listed.
Is it change.org petition?
Yeah, it's change.org. I've got it right here. I'll pull it up. So, yeah, we should have had this ready. Sorry for that. Online petition. It says change.org letter to Bert Archer. And it's the group is Friends of the Montreal Gazette.
Okay, so if you go to Friends of the Gazette, you'll find it there on change.org. Okay.